Everybody, welcome to Cryptids and Conspiracies. I'm the conspiracy, and he's the cryptid.
Hello.
There you go. Thank you for hitting your cue. Julie. All right.
You're welcome.
Anyway. All right. So we got Zadabunk, who should be on the panel, but is
come on. He can send you the link.
Being a wuss, as always.
Come on, get in here.
William F., who is on my channel, actually. The alone person on my channel. No, they're both on my channel. Okay. Where's your crew at, man?
I don't
Seriously.
know. I have no idea.
They're falling down on the job here, man. All right.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, anyway, well, you're not like streaming tomorrow, so they got plenty of time.
I told them about it, and I told them tonight.
Okay. Oh,
there we go. There's B-Dog.
All right.
B-Dog's in the house.
You got one. All right.
Yeah.
So I played the trailer for the Philadelphia Experiment, the cheesy movie from the 80s. Michael Pare and what's that chick's name? Minzy Allen, I think her name is.
Yeah, she was from. She was in RoboCop.
She was in a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, she was.
She was like one of those. She was like the girl next door, du jour for about the whole mid-80s.
Yeah, she was. There. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she was rocking the 80s hairstyle and everything.
She's like cute, right on the edge of being sexy, but just like cute, And
yeah.
She's, and I think she was bankable because she didn't intimidate people, but she was cute enough to people think her sexy. Looking back at one cheesy trailer, and it's poorly paced and poorly edited.
1983.
Yeah. Michael Pare is a acting legend. Yep. Let's say that's wasn't he the guy that was in the what's the name of that movie where the lead singer disappears? I can't remember. All right, anyway. I know he's in Streets of Gold, which was good enough. Anyway, Eddie and the Cruisers, that's it. It was a great movie with Eddie and the Cruisers. Yeah, that was the name of it. They actually had like charting hits. The band that played their music had some charting hits out of that. Anyway, also did a song for like one of the Stallone movies. I can't remember. Anyway, that's beside the point. We are here tonight, Eddie. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But tonight we're here to talk about Philadelphia Experiment, and there's a, talk about this. My channel is called Rabbit Holes. This was quite a rabbit hole, I tell you.
Oh yeah.
There seems to be a lot of cover up for something that never happened. Yeah, you notice that?
Yeah, there's a lot of tentacles expanding all over the place with this one. And
I thought it was really interesting that there's like an official Navy position on this the supposed thing that never happened. There's an official naval position. They actually took a position on this, which they never do for like rumors or for stupid stuff, right? And yet they took an official position on this one. They showed like all these records of where these ships were that they couldn't have possibly been where this guy said they were. And it's like time shift will do some damage. Hey, we're getting to that. So one thing I like to do is play an overview. So I'm going to play one now that's kind of like a good overview. But basically, Philadelphia Experiment can be summed up like this. Okay, this is what they thought they were going to get.
Is this a submarine?
Really? They want me in a submerged, pressurized metal container?
Emergency Protocol 193.6 in effect.
We're at level, sir.
Good. Let's vanish.
Engage retroreflection panel.
Yeah, that's what they thought they were getting. But this is what they pretty much got.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so not what they expected to get. Anyway, Nancy Allen was smoking hot in 1941. Yep. Can we time shift Biden? No, that's not. No. Hey T, what's up, dude? Devil Flyer, what's up, dude? This is the longest example clip I've ever watched. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get struck. I was afraid we were gonna get struck, but you know.
Wait.
Horizon is completely different. Well, the concepts are similar. Okay, what they thought they were doing was making the ship invisible, which you know, the helicarrier is a good example of, right? But what happened was they went somewhere else, and when they came back, bad stuff had happened. So I think it's an apt example. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, considering the witness reports, statements, and things like that, and of what were happening to people after the fact, of course, yeah. And then during what they discovered once they boarded the ship.
Right. Bad. They went someplace, and when they came back, there was things that happened. In the meantime. So Event Horizon was the only other example I could think of. So I stand by my example. All right, I stand by it. All right, you know.
I think all things considered, it's a pretty good example.
I think it's a very good example. Considering some of the stuff we're about to talk about, you know, yep. I think it's a good one. All right. First clip, I like to do like an overview, and with just the salient facts. And this one was the best one I found. So this is Dark Matter is a Philadelphia experiment. This is about 2 minutes here. So here we go.
Warning. Your screen will soon be filled with dramatized stories of scientific research that some people may find controversial or disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. The letter claims that 12 years previously, at the height of World War II, the Navy had conducted several radical experiments in Philadelphia aboard a destroyer, the U.S.S. Eldridge, that made it simply vanish into thin air. During one trial, the ship rematerialized 200 miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, before disappearing again and reappearing once more in Philadelphia. The letter attributes the technology that made the ship invisible to Albert Einstein, saying the great genius had secretly developed a single unified theory to tie together all of the laws of physics.
A unified field theory combines the equations that govern the interaction of matter with itself and with light, and with both of those with gravity. The idea is, if we can come up with this elegant set of equations that explains the way the universe works, perhaps we can do something with those. Bend light, change the nature of space-time, teleport, render things invisible.
Einstein himself said he was working on this theory, but never cracked it. According to the letter's author, he secretly had. And at the height of World War II, the Navy used his idea to bend light and to make a warship invisible.
How we see an object is that the light illuminates it. The laser illuminates our model ship. You can see it. You can see the green flashing off of it. However, the idea of using unified field theory is that you could then redirect this light so that it no longer passes across the object, but just goes around it.
All right. So that's kind of a primer of what the subject we're about to get into here. All righty. Oh no. Yeah. There you go.
Oh no.
Okay, let me set the stage for what was happening in the world at this time. World War II. Okay. Now, the Germans, in their insanity, were trying to grasp at any straw they could, and they went places, medically, went places, scientifically, went places morally, that no other culture had ever gone before in their madness. But they created some incredible things. They practically created a jet plane turboprop engine. They pressurized cockpits. They invented a guided missile, but it wasn't really guided, but But I mean, they came up with some things that later became, what NASA used to put man on the moon, if you believe it. They put man on the moon, but the technology that they used, copyright strike. I hope not. Well, it's okay if we'll get copyright struck anyway.
My stream just became unavailable.
Motherfucker.
Stream suspended for policy violations.
Yeah.
On my end. I don't know about your end, but
yeah, it's on mine. It's on
down.
Mine.
So we're not broadcasting.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, it might come back. I don't know.
Well, and this is why we use Rumble.
Yep.
Give us a couple.
I don't know. I'm assuming we're still on X. Are we still on X or?
Yeah, we're still up on X. So this is why we use Rumble. Give us a couple minutes. But yeah. Well. So what do you mean that last video is what took us down?
It's a possibility.
Or did it take them that long to discover the Avengers video? We're back. And we're back.
Okay, yep, I'm back up. Okay, so that's kind of what happened to me when I did my Toshiro Mifune stream, or tried to. That the clips I was showing, apparently they kept on,
Well, I was basically using clips like this, with my cannabis and conspiracies, but everything's so AI now that
it's just.
Funny thing about it is when we upload, or later on when this stream comes up, I doubt we'll even get a copyright strike, but we got our whole entire stream took down, Yeah. But anyway, that's the reason why we use Rumble almost exclusively now. But we're back anyway.
Well, on tomorrow night's show for sure. We're using Rumble.
Definitely. So, but anyway, so basically what happened in society was Germany was doing it, just going completely off the rails scientifically. And because of that, United States was basically doing going places that they really wouldn't have gone otherwise. One of the results is the atomic bomb. And because Schrodinger was working on one in Germany, and so they got Oppenheimer to work on one in America, and Oppenheimer beat him to it. Schrodinger never really came close, to be honest, when they found out. What?
There was some evidence uncovered that they may have tested a tactical nuclear device. The Germans. Yeah, that was on. I don't know if you remember the show where they were trying to hunt Hitler, and they had Tim Kennedy and a bunch of other former spooks that were trying to track down using declassified or unredacted FBI files to track him down in Argentina or wherever.
Okay, well, maybe we'll put that on a future show, but for right now, we're focused on this. Anyway, I stand corrected. Maybe Schrodinger got closer than it's reputed that he got. But for anyway, South America, there you go. Right. But for anyway, so basically what happened was America was like attempting new technologies, and they were like basically experimenting with stuff, and they were using their soldiers to do it. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why the Philadelphia experiment resonates with people, that this is something that could have happened. Because at that time, all sorts of wacky and wonky stuff was happening. Even with the Manhattan Project, there were some things that happened in Manhattan Project that remained like under wraps for decades that came out later, like how many of them died of radiation poisoning and cancer and things like that, including Oppenheimer, who died of lung cancer. But basically, what was happening at this time was that the government of the United States was basically, if they saw a theory, they even if it was untested,
a theory,
theory,
not a fairy,
EORY. Try to stay focused.
Fairies,
focus. Okay,
they're classified for sure. Fairies are.
I swear, I'm trying to conduct a show here, and you're like, squirrel. Come on, man.
Either fairies or pixies. I don't know.
Theory.
I've already gotten taken down once. What the hell?
Yeah, I won't show any more clips, but just in case.
No, go ahead.
Anyway,
I'm just busting your chops.
I know. That like I don't have enough on my plate here. But basically, so what happened was if you look at the technology, if there was a unified field theory, which to this day no one's ever claimed to have come up with one, but unified field theory is basically turning mankind into God, because it would crack the code of all the interactions of all the energies that make up the ecosystem of the world, the Earth, okay? Including gravity, including electromagnetic, including light and heat energy and things like that. The theory is that there is like one formula that if you can come up with it, you can crack however all this interacts and even bend it to your will. And this is something that Tesla worked on. And considering Tesla once caused an earthquake, he may have been closer than a lot of people. And he had died mysteriously he died of supposedly old age, even though he was healthy all the way up to the day he died. In a motel room, and all his papers were seized, and all those papers went where? Help me out here, Wookie. Where did those papers go?
They went missing.
They went missing. You cannot find them even to today. there's people that have attempted to use the Freedom of Information Act to get a hold of them.
Nope.
And when the FBI went to recover them, they were not there. They were elsewhere. Not so it's entirely possible that the what was it, Department of War at that time?
At that time, yeah, Department of War.
Yeah, it was called the Department of War. The whole thing was umbrella was Department of War. And it's very possible that they got a hold of some of this stuff. One of the theories that I found was that Tesla was working on a electromagnetic. He was really heavily into electromagnets and magnetism, and the interaction between magnetism and electricity has always been really. They still don't know what causes magnetism. Okay, to this day, they can't tell you what the force of magnetism is. You know that?
No.
Okay, yeah. To this day, they don't know. All they know is that some reason when things are magnetized and the opposite poles are up against each other, they cause a repulsive force. Or if their poles are lined, they cause a force that sticks them together. And it only seems to happen with certain things with metallic elements. Okay, and they don't know. They don't know why this is. But one of the things that happens, I say, Tesla was a genius we really needed. They ruined him for greed. Yeah,
they pretty much did. Yeah,
we'll do one on Tesla. We'll definitely do one on Tesla. We'll revisit him.
I think it's on the list.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Somewhere.
Well, the thing about it is electromagnetism can also cause radio waves to bend. And so since radar was the thing that they were really trying to make the ships invisible to, the idea was if they had magnetized the hull of a ship to the point to reverse the poles on the ship, that basically that the mines that the Germans had put all throughout the ocean that was causing havoc in shipping lanes would no longer work because the mines worked off of magnetism. They would be completely inert until something metal passed over them, and then they'd latch on, and the timer would start. And this had taken down multiple ships. That hundreds of millions of dollars of shipping had gone down because of this. And so the idea was one of the theories they were testing out was if you completely magnetize the hull, would it be invisible to radar, and would it repulse these mines? So there are several actual documented experiments that were happened around this. It is now, Shadowpunk. We're back up. I keep it open. We're back up. So
yeah,
we dropped for a minute, but we're back. Now go play.
Here's the link. Come on, damn it! Don't be such a chicken.
Yeah, we're not going to play any more clips because of that. Evidently, you can't even play a 2-minute clip anymore. So fuck YouTube. Anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Rumble catch up so we can get the hell off this hellscape. Just saying. Anyway,
we're on our own event horizon.
We're on our own event horizon. Yes, we are. But anyway, so that was the idea, and also the idea was magnetism can also bend light. I'm not really sure, but that was part of the unified field theory, that light was part of the energy that would make up the unified field theory. And so the idea was, kind of like what they did on the helicarrier, which is why it was a good example. Okay. Which is probably the clip that got me struck. But anyway. Welcome to the show, Abby. What's up, dude?
Abby, normal.
Can we get a set time?
We do. It's 7 o'clock.
Eastern.
Eastern.
Yeah. It's been advertised all day long. So
I heard 6. The last time I heard was 6 o'clock, and that was last week.
That was because it was at 9
no.
Eastern.
No. All right. Hello there. What's up, Cruel? What's up, dude?
I thought you knew.
No.
Look, Cruel's awake. He's awake.
What the hell?
He's awake.
Holy crap. He's in the middle of the morning.
He's time traveled. He's already in tomorrow.
Oh, you've been called out here.
Yeah.
Called out.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
I barely learned how to read, so you know.
He knew what time it was. He was in. He was one of the first in the chat.
You know.
Anyway. But so basically, the idea was, they just wanted to make a ship invisible to radar, which seems to be achievable. Okay, because radar is just radio waves that get sent out and they bounce off of an object and they come back, and the time it takes them to come back gets registered, and an image gets formed by the amount of time it takes for return radio waves. Okay,
right.
And so the idea was, what if you had something that basically absorbed the radio waves, or that the radio waves didn't went around, then it would be invisible because there would be no return signal. Mm-hmm. So that seemed feasible. It seemed like something that was achievable, and that's what I believe. Turn off the red light. What? Okay, it's only 12:30. Okay. All right. No police. No singing police. Okay. No police covers. All right. Anyway, so that seemed like feasible. Anybody? I know you guys have more technical knowledge than I do. Does that sound like something that's possible and achievable?
As far as radar,
could be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because they do have technology, aircraft that are invisible to radar, the stealth technology.
Yeah, exactly. And that's due in part to wing design and also whatever's coating the hull.
Yeah. And so it seems like some people think that electromagnetic technology is the reason why the Blackbird was so fast. Because there's something
potentially.
There's something with that basically cuts down the wind resistance on the Blackbird, and so a pocket of electromagnetic energy would make it basically a flying bullet train.
Kelly Johnson's what caused that.
Well, there you go.
The damn thing outran missiles.
Yes.
The F-117 is radar proof. Right.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke. Okay, well, all right. Anyway, evidently, the people watching are not on the inside, so let's keep those inside jokes to a minimum, shall we? Anyway,
keep it up there, buddy. I know where you live.
No, you don't. He's on vacation in some other land.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
he's behind enemy lines up north.
Yes, I know. He's up north.
Okay. Meanwhile, back to the topic. All right. So basically, there was like a actual other ship that the Navy acknowledges that there was an experiment that and it caused the same problem that happens with power lines over elementary schools.
Was that the U.S.S. Hammond?
The Hammond, yeah. And so
put an
electromagnets,
whatchamajigger on it, and yeah.
Who's a what's it?
Yes.
Come on now.
It was to help with de-Googling.
It's less electromagnets. I mean, this is not like new technology here, man.
Spoiler alert.
Cavemen had access to magnets. Come on now. Anyway. All right.
It's so easy a caveman could do it.
There you go. The sailors were actually having like headaches and like stroke-like symptoms and things like that after they turned it on. And so,
damn, they must
that
have
was
met my ex-wife.
well.
Funny, Johnny.
Jeez Louise, dude. Jeez Louise, man. This lady sounds like a nightmare. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, both of them.
All right, well, both of them. All right, yeah. Anyway,
well, actually, number 2, but yeah.
No. Okay. Well, but anyway,
that's why I'm the way I am now, thanks to that piece of work.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll blame her. We'll blame her.
There you go.
Anyway, so basically, so this was part of that. That's the experiment that they acknowledged, which is weird in and of itself because that seemed to indicate that Navy thought that somebody might find out that they were conducting these experiments, and why in the world would they do that unless it's a rabbit hole they wanted to close up? Anyway, nightmare would be good. Okay. Yeah. There you go. All right.
I don't know. I know that as far as like an eyewitness to this, a supposed eyewitness to the supposed event, contacted a UFO, actually a scientist who became a UFO novelist, or he wrote a book. And this witness,
which is what a novelist is. Yeah.
Yes, that's a novelty, isn't it?
Kind of how it works out that way, huh?
Yes, a little bit, just a little bit. No. So an individual by the name of Carl Allen claims that they witnessed this experiment, witnessed everything and the aftermath from another ship. And later on,
but he was in the Norfolk Harbor in Virginia. And so he was not even on site for the Philadelphia experiment, but he was on board. I can't remember the name of his ship. You remember the name of his ship?
Andrew Furoseth. But yeah, it's everything I've seen. He was actually there.
Yeah,
he witnessed the experiment take place.
He did have records of him being on that ship.
Yes, he was definitely on that ship.
He was definitely stationed on that ship. That's been confirmed. Yeah. And he's, according to him, they were in the harbor of Norfolk Harbor, and suddenly the Eldridge was there. And it was there. Interestingly enough, it was he listed as sighting it 10 minutes before it disappeared in Philadelphia. Yeah. So evidently, not only did it move in space, but it also moved in time. And so, and it was there in Norfolk, which was a 3-hour. I think it was. It
was approximately 250 to 300 miles away from the Philadelphia harbor.
It's a little bit of a hike, okay, and but it was seen in Norfolk. And the theory is because it spent so much time in Norfolk that it came out of the wormhole at a place it'd been previously. And it'd been in Norfolk previously before it went to Philadelphia. And so that was the theory as to why it wound up in Norfolk. Okay. And but it showed up in Norfolk and it stayed like around 5 minutes, I think. And then it was gone again. And then it showed up in Philadelphia. Okay. Now according to like records of things that this guy supposedly found out from other sailors, because he was one of the people that actually saw it. He said he saw it pop into existence in the harbor and then go away again. But he basically, he said that he collected some information from other sailors that were off the record that said that when they got back, there were people that were fused into the hull of the ship, kind of like a transporter accident, and that there were like people who had like early onset Alzheimer's, insanity, instability, mental instability, all things that have been connected to high powered, power lines being too low over a community. So, and the thing at the high power, the power lines that really affects people is the electromagnetic energy that surrounds a lot of power going through metal. So once again, there seems to be a connection back to magnetism.
Right.
But anyway, so the thing about it is they've never uncovered any like records of damaged men from the Eldridge. In fact, Eldridge would hold these get-togethers from crew members, which is done routinely on ships. They'll do like reunions where old shipmates will get together, and according to them, according to the Navy, when these guys got together, there were no missing members. There was no like war stories about it. It's pretty much a boring ship that never really went anywhere or did anything. And so it's like nothing to see here. As a matter of fact, they said the Eldridge during the time of the experiment was in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was supposedly in the Bahamas on a shakedown cruise, meaning that it was just one of its first voyages going down and testing the ship. See, the ship was, I think it was built in August, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this event occurred in October, I think late October. Now,
what year did this happen?
1943. But the thing is that it's possible, because this was a quote unquote new ship and possibly not put into service at that time, it could have been they just rounded up a bunch of guys, of sailors, to be on the ship, to do work on the ship, to make it operable. And, and then whatever happened in October, and they could have changed out the crews, because if it was technically not in service, then they could have done whatever they wanted to with logs and etc. and switch out everybody from the captain to the janitor. And they go on their own separate ways and whatever, and they bring a whole new crew in that does go to the Bahamas and does a shakedown cruise.
Yeah.
So it's very possible. And they just have to,
somebody
would have
one
to
thing,
alter the records. So.
Well, there's one thing that happens with when the military sanitizes after a situation that they always bring up the log books. You ever notice that? Every time, even when they get caught red-handed, they always say, "Well, but the logbook says this."
Yeah.
This time, this happened at this time at this situation.
Logbooks can be doctored. We all know that.
Yeah, and it's very possible that during the time of this event, there were no logs.
Yeah. Just ask Wookie's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll be. Yes, she'll be very helpful with that.
All
Not
right.
to be rude, but she was big as a boat. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't want this shit coming.
No love lost there.
Yeah.
Sanitizes, right?
Sanitize. Yep. Sanitizes.
Well, but a lot of this stuff, and one of the really interesting things was this guy who was who basically leaked this information. What did they started calling him like crazy? And
yeah,
that is the go-to smear campaign tactic of the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
It's a calling someone crazy. This person's crazy. You can't take their word for it.
Where do you think the term conspiracy theory came from? It came from the Central Intelligence Agency as a way to, steer you in the wrong direction. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, though, is conspiracies lately seem to have a pretty decent track record.
They're doing real well right now.
They're doing really, really well right now.
They got a great batting average.
If Alex Jones is completely full of crap, then why in the world did you shut his studio down the other day?
Exactly.
Why does that even matter?
And here's the situation. Here's something too, and you've kind of hit on that with what you just said. So the gentleman in question, Carlos Allende, also known as Carl Allen. Carl Allen's the one that served on the Forsyth. He changed his name or adopted the identity of Carlos Allende, and he sent all these handwritten accounts to a author, scientist, an M.K. Jessup. So this Mr. Jessup had all this information that was sent to him, and he didn't really do anything with it until after his second book bombed. His first book was a hit, and it was called The Case for the UFO. And his second book didn't do too well at all. And he was working on it, but he decided he would do a third book, and he would take this material that this Carlos Allende sent to him, and he would use that as a basis for his third book. And he did write this book, apparently, but it didn't go very far. But then soon after this was published and failed, he all of a sudden got a visit from a newly formed office of the federal government called the Office of Naval Research. And he got a visit from these guys out of the freaking blue, but come to find out, they had a copy of his book with annotations, handwritten annotations in it by whoever sent it to him. Well, Jessup saw the book because they showed it to him. He read the annotations, and he recognized the handwriting right away as being this Carlos Allende, aka Carl Allen. Apparently, this guy Carl Allen was a big fanboy of Jessup. He sent him like over 50 letters, between the time that he sent him the initial package of stuff and then when this happened. Well, here's the thing. Now, his third book came out in 1958.
Hey, Smart.
Jessup. So Jessup published his third and last book in 1958. When he was doing his research and everything, and this is after he got the visit from the Office of Naval Research, on April 20th of 1959, he called a friend of his and said, basically, I've got to talk to you, and I have some information for you. I'm going to give you some stuff, but we got to talk. And it's very important. And it had to do with this Carlos Allende stuff. That same day, April 20th, 1959, Mr. Jessup was found dead in his car from carbon monoxide poisoning. He all appearances show that he attempted to kill himself. He committed suicide, right? But there was no autopsy done.
And he was probably cremated against the family wishes.
It's a possibility. But that was some interesting events that happened to this guy in 1959. Of course, this was April 20th when he was found dead. That's the same day that he called his buddy up and said, hey, I need to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So very doubtful in my mind that someone would call their buddy, best friend, and say, hey, I got to talk to you. I got some important information. We need to meet. And then he offs himself the later that day. Probably while he was trying to get going to where he was going to go. So
committed suicide by people back of the head.
Yeah.
Right. He got Arkancided before.
Before
nice.
Yeah. Well, what is interesting about this though is you always look for the result of something. When there's a big cover up going on, you always see these artifacts around it. You always see like the whole logbook thing. You always see these suicides. You always see people like disappearing, or changing their name and moving away, or You always have these individuals that show up and have conversations off the record. You know, Operation Blue Book is part of this, and you know, the Men in Black, who may or may or not exist, but there's always like these same things that like appear over and over again. Okay, so the speculation is that they indeed attempted something that was highly experimental, and the result was sufficiently damaging enough to the reputation of the Navy that they decided to memory hole it, and basically adjust everything around the situation with in the same ways that they always do. Well, and you know, go ahead.
Here's something too. We have to understand the time that this supposedly occurred, along with other things that were going on, like the Rainbow Project, which was a experiment in electromagnetism to help basically dissipate sea mines and other things like that to lower the ship's signature so they wouldn't, you know, set off, because there's proximity mines. There were proximity, so the mine would detect the ship, and then it would go off and explode and sink the ship or badly damage it. So the idea was to come up with this electromagnetic device to attach to these ships to help these ships avoid these proximity mines.
Which is pretty much what I said at the beginning of the show.
Exactly.
Thanks for the review.
Yeah, exactly. But you have to understand, this is 1943. We're in the middle of World War II.
Which is also what I said at the beginning of the show.
And the Department of War was in charge of a lot of things. The federal government had a lot of power. So it would be, in my opinion, very easy for powers that be at that time to go ahead and just make logs and people just disappear somewhere. Not necessarily delete people, but they're a little kooky in the head. Let's go put them in a sanitarium, you know, type of situation. Or drive them crazy just by surveillance and stuff like that.
Well, there's also a phenomenon of where did these damaged men go that were supposedly damaged by this experiment? Where did they go?
They went nuts. They could have become homeless. They could have been obviously ostracized from their family. This guy, Carlos Allende, aka Carl Allen, he was estranged from his whole family.
No.
You know, because of this. And he was interviewed in 1986, and he was 61 at the time and in failing health. So, but he admitted that he was completely, you know, blacklisted from his family, and that's why he changed his name. So.
Well, also, you know, there's families that anytime there's a adjustment that's been made by the military to fix a situation, families usually wind up getting pretty nice paydays with what's essential, an NDA with a gun to the head. You know,
right.
A non-disclosure agreement, you know, with this nice healthy bank account on the government's the you know, taxpayer dime, but you have to like memory hole the fact that this happened to your loved one.
What's the famous line to a family's witness, or a witness's family? Back in late 1940, or about 1947, in some place in New Mexico, the military paid a visit and basically said, "This is a pretty good sized desert out here. Really would be a great place to hide bodies."
Nice family you've got here. Would be ashamed if something were to happen to them.
Yeah, and never seen again out in this big desert.
Here's a life insurance policy payout from your loved one that, you know, but you have to like, you know, forget that something happened to them, you know, while they were in our service. And, you will live wealthy the rest of your life, but if you talk about it to anyone, not only will the money go away, but
I doubt if they give them any major amount of money. I think it'd mostly be, the threat of disappearing.
Well, I'm sure there's a stipend.
They probably got a nominal one. Yeah, a nominal one, sure.
Well, I mean, there has to be enough that it's not a hardship for the family, so they can just basically they can move on, can move where they need to, or do whatever they have to from that day forward, to minimize the impact of this person being gone. And but this happens over and over again. It's pretty much a SOP, standard operating procedure. Procedure, and you see this all the time when there's like cover-ups going on. And so, did they teleport from Philadelphia Harbor to Norfolk? Maybe. It's it doesn't seem probable, but some of the things we're learning about how the the universe interacts with energy. We're starting to make strides in that direction. But so that's not really a practical thing, but the idea that they turned on a energy in the ship that caused severe damage to sailors to the point where it would be a black eye if it's got out. That sounds more feasible to me. That sounds like they basically guinea pigged a bunch of sailors on this ship, and something bad happened, and because of that, they decided to wipe it clean like it never happened. And there does seem to be a significant amount of these artifacts, these cover-up artifacts going on around the situation. And the one guy who spoke has been smeared and hounded in much the same way as most whistleblowers have been done, has been done to most whistleblowers in, U.S. history. And
absolutely.
And so, so the speculation around here, our philosophy is the truth is in the middle. Between the speculation and the facts, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Okay.
Who's middle?
The middle. The middle. This is not a hard concept. Okay. You got left, you got right, you got middle. Okay. This is not a hard concept here.
Where the pudding is?
Somebody's range can be this wide, and somebody's can be.
In the middle where the pudding is?
Anyway, in the middle. What I mean by that is, okay, there's this crazy, wild allegation that the ship transported into another portal in another world, wound up in Norfolk, was seen by Carlos Allen, and then boom, showed up back in Philadelphia with a extremely traumatized, some cases dead sailor population. And that's the extreme end of it, okay? And that the ship completely disappeared, it completely went elsewhere, and it came back. Okay, that's the extreme end of it.
Yep.
Okay. The facts is there is a ship called the Eldridge. The Navy had been experimenting with electromagnetic magnetic technology, and it was highly speculative. And Einstein was in the Department of War at that time, working on weaponry. And also they had the Tesla papers, and Tesla had been an expert on electromagnets to the point had to go further in remote control and radio waves. He actually got to radio before Marconi, but he didn't have the government behind him like Marconi did. So we're talking about they had those papers available to them, the missing Tesla papers, and so the idea that they had the know-how, the opportunity, the nascent technology to try to create a electromagnetized ship hull that would avoid these mines and maybe avoid radar detection seems possible and feasible. But the fact that they were guinea pigging these sailors to do it, and bad things happened to these sailors.
Yep.
And there was a huge cover up. You know, how this guy saw them in Norfolk, or how this guy got involved. You know, that is that's mostly hearsay. But what we do know is the ship existed, the technology existed, the opportunity existed, and the willpower to do this existed.
Yeah.
And the artifacts, the cover-up artifacts are there. So something was most likely covered up. Okay. So anybody have an assessment better than that?
No, but I have something here that basically from this experiment, or this this theory of this experiment, we don't know if it actually happened verbatim or if the bits and pieces were just combined. But we do know this. It encompasses three things that the conspiracy theorists or science, enthusiasts and stuff like that look at. One is invisibility. Right. The second one is teleportation. And the other one's time travel. And in this story, you have all three. And possibly even interdimensional travel. Is you have the situation where when this ship came back, supposedly, there's crew members that were basically fused to the ship on the inside that died. Right. So it's some real, you have molecular transformation of metal and human bodies. And one thing was one of Tesla's things before he passed away, because they started working on this like a year or two before this ever happened. Tesla said he didn't want any humans involved with the test initially. Well, he passed away. That all went out the window, and everybody else decided, oh yeah, let's throw some guinea pigs in there and, whatever, see what happens. So.
But no, the government would never use soldiers and people who are in military branches as guinea pigs for madcap experiments.
Can you say Tuskegee?
No. Yes, exactly. Tuskegee? Yeah.
Huh. Wait, I think I've heard of that. Isn't that in Alabama?
Something like that, somewhere around there.
All right. Here's something too. There's something that's connected to this. The Philadelphia experiment story is that it was somehow connected to the Montauk Project. And there's a whole bunch of weird shit with Montauk Project on its own. But it's possibly these could be connected. That's why at the beginning I said there were so many tentacles reaching out in all kinds of different directions into a bunch of different things that this is crazy. It could be, it's big. If half of this stuff is factually correct, it's big.
Yeah.
Is there any link to this that they've been found to the Manhattan Project?
Well, I never read anything or heard anything specifically.
I'm just kind of throwing it out there, Project.
Well,
who knows?
Manhattan
because it would have been in that time frame.
Yeah, it was in full swing. Manhattan Project was in full swing, and there was like electromagnet technology that was being utilized, and they were basically speculating that electromagnets could be used to isolate isotopes, and so that was technology that was like speculated early on. Later, they decided to go with physical beryllium sphere, but
right.
But they thought of maybe electromagnetizing the beryllium sphere to to hold the radioactive isotopes into matrix. That was part of the Manhattan Project. And so, the tomato, a lot of this stuff seems to connect to electromagnets. And the foremost expert in the world of electromagnetism and electricity and the way electricity worked, period, was Nikola Tesla. And we do know that Nikola Tesla, if we don't know half of what that guy came up with. But what we do know is that he was capable of creating a earthquake, and he destroyed that technology. He was also doing some other stuff like a death ray technology, and
Hawaii one.
well, he called it. I think he called it a defense ray. I don't think he called it death ray.
It's funny because all of a sudden in recent history we see usage of what's known as an active denial system. This was used in Australia, and it basically caused people to get sunburns, nausea, disorientation, dizziness.
And there's something having to do with blue roofs.
That's it. Yeah, that's a different project, but it's probably the same technology, just used in a different way.
So what we do know is that there's way more technology, way more advanced technology that the government hasn't told us about, that we always get leaked later in the game. Like the internet was available to the to the military for a full decade and a half before it ever became available for private concerns. So we're talking about the idea. It's not far-fetched that some of the same technology that made the Blackbird invisible to radar could have been like speculated and guinea pigged during the Philadelphia experiment. The drip fetus detect, right? So I am saying, so in the end, I'm saying this is plausible. Maybe not to the degree, maybe not the teleportation part. I'm not convinced of that part, but I am convinced that yes, there was a anti-radar technology that was guinea pigged on this ship, and it caused extreme damage to the sailors involved, and that the Navy covered it up. And
it could have been the Project Rainbow that was the degaussing technology, which was electromagnetic as well for the mines.
Yeah.
But and we know that there's the ship called the U.S.S. Hammond was one actually using that material as an experiment. So
okay.
So there's a kernel of truth to a lot of this. I mean, in different areas. So yeah.
Well, that's also a cover-up technique that we see where the government will just admit to a milder form of the what they're being accused of, and to say, well, what they might be referencing is this thing that we did over here that was completely innocuous, and somebody blew it out of proportion. Somebody crazy,
like those 6 foot tall dummies that they threw out of planes in New Mexico about 6 years after Roswell, and claimed that that's what people saw. Not
weather balloons.
Weather balloons.
Or the fact that they completely faked a force of tanks before D-Day. With inflatables.
Inflatables.
And so we're talking about there's an entire department at this time in the Department of War. There was an entire department that was basically their whole entire job was to decoy what they were actually doing.
You mean there was a Department of Misinformation during the war?
Oh, hell
yes.
What?
Hell yeah.
Not officially. Not officially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not officially.
Not
But
officially.
they
Okay.
still got a government paycheck.
I believe it was called the Department of Ungentlemanly Warfare in England. I think it was what it was called.
I still got to
they
see
were
that movie.
big
I heard
time
it
on
good.
that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that was some crazy stuff.
Okay, which we might cover in some future future. Anyway, so any last words, my friend? You know, any last thing you want to?
Well,
any bond?
You know, like I said before, there's a lot of tentacles stretching out from just this Philadelphia experiment, you know, case, if you want to call it that,
right.
involving the Montauk Project, involving a host of different, all the way to aliens, UFOs, and things like that. People are claiming.
What do you think actually happened, though?
I think they were testing.
They were testing something.
Teleportation, and it went bad, and they said, "Well, we were just testing a new radar kind of buffering thing."
Yeah,
to hide it.
I kind of agree with that. As they were experimenting something in something like that, and the cover story was the degaussing, and it went wrong, and so they pulled the cover story out, and something.
Yeah, I think some
happened.
muckety muck went onto that ship and said, "Oh no." Erase. Oh, Abby's hats. Okay. All right.
There we go.
Well,
the
so
prophet of time.
So anyway. Okay. So, so what is, you know, like I said, I think the truth is always in the middle, you know, between extreme speculation and fanciful, you know, accounts and what we know to be completely 100% true. And the distance between these two is so severe that I think what actually happened, what's in the middle, is probably pretty spectacular, and it's probably something that we wouldn't think is even possible.
This is for Time Prophet.
And
yeah, there you
go. Yeah, and I agree with you. I agree with you, Bunny. It's something that we'll probably never have disclosed to the general public. It will never be that way, unfortunately. But
what else is
here
new?
We are. Yeah, what else is new?
Yeah.
What else is new?
Who knows? There might be bulkheads in the Smithsonian somewhere with embedded soldiers in them or sailors in them.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Anyway, that has been Cooper from Telepathic Bunny Comics, Mr. Abby Someone, from somewhere in California, deepest, darkest California.
California.
9 seasons of X-Files, I never found the truth. California. Sorry, California. And my man Wookie Fever over here from 101 degree Arizona.
Actually, it was 107.
I was going to say 110.
No, it almost got to 100. It actually started going down a little bit ago.
You're going to have a cooling trend tomorrow. It's going to be 105.
Yeah, actually. You know what? No, we've actually spiked to 108. What the hell?
All right.
It went from 107 to 10. No, now it says it's 105.
Okay.
It's so hot. It's so hot. The thermometer doesn't even know what the hell it wants to say.
Take the egg out and try to fry it on the asphalt. That's the good sign indicator.
Yes.
Well, at least you're not on the U.S.S. Eldridge or anything.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
You know, there's that.
Yes.
Not even sure what this comment's even about. So okay.
Stargate. Oh yeah, Stargate.
All right.
Loved Stargate. Loved Stargate.
Anyway, once again, Cruel, evidently, you know, the biggest repository for pop culture that I've ever seen.
He has the 9 seasons.
He has those 9 seasons. Of course he does.
I wish I did.
I saw the movie. Yeah.
But does he have the 3 movies? Or 2
probably
movies?
Does. Holy crap.
No, he says he's only seen the movie of Stargate, so that's what he said.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you all for coming. So what's the topic for next week, Mr. Wookie?
Let me grab my list. Give me a second.
Bear in mind, we just did a conspiracy, so next week will be a cryptid.
I like his filing system.
I found it.
Just throwing paper, post-it notes everywhere. That's what it is.
Shh. quiet. It's the cheap Post-it notes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So organized.
It's the Walmart
So it is.
brand.
Yeah.
It's the Walmart
One
brand.
over here, one over there, one over there.
Yes.
So organized. Totally organized.
Oh, we were gonna do
Spring Hill Jack.
Spring Hill Jack. Yes.
All right. So
That thing again.
Spring
there you
Hill
go.
Jack. Well, you know.
So come back next week, and we're going to talk about Spring Hill Jack. And speaking of which, tomorrow night, Wookie's Bunny show, we're going to finish the second half of that first first encounter.
December of 2022. Yes.
Yeah.
December of 2022. First one.
One of the funniest
Part of
shows
the
ever.
Philadelphia experiment. We went back in time.
Pretty good. Yes.
There you go. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow night for Wookie Bunny show. And got a couple comments we'll highlight before we go out the door. Evidently, time for being hot tonight.
Stand up.
All righty.
Nope,
the series was good, really good. Yep. Yeah, it was. It was better than the movie. William F. Later, boys. See, man, why doesn't he use the digital post-it notes? No idea. And with a person on the panel without a beard, please stand up. There is nobody without a beard, so I guess
nobody without some facial hair.
You're just stuck with us tonight. Sorry, Time Prophet.
Yep.
Anyway.
Sorry, Time Prophet.
I honestly think he can't grow beards. That's why he's so jealous. But, it is what it is. All right. Maybe low testosterone.
I got these nice little green ones right here. Nice little green. These little Post-it notes.
All righty. So that has been Cryptids and Conspiracies. And remember, between the cryptid and the conspiracy, the truth is always in the middle. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
See you, everybody.
See ya.